It is Fantastic Friday. We all know what that means. That means we got Mike Zuer from One Rental at a Time, not only the president of One Rental at a Time, but also Lumberjack Landlord's resident economist.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. It's something that we've been hearing a lot about as far as from guys like us that really understand how housing works.
Mm-hmm.
Federal government broke housing. Walk me through it. Walk folks through it so they understand exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. So it's funny. This has come to me in waves, right? The U.S. economy is a complex, almost organism.
Yeah.
However, when you step back, you have 3 decades of looking at it daily, which I have. Mm-hmm. You start to see trends. You have a focus, which for me is the consumer. Then you kind of round that out with cost of capital. Then you round that out with government intervention. And what we have going on today is we are about to pay a ridiculous price in the housing market. Mm-hmm. And there's actually 2 areas that have been destroyed by the federal government: home purchases and affordable rentals. We have to talk about them differently because what they did and the ramifications of each are both spectacularly horrible, mm-hmm. but they are independent from each other. Mm-hmm. So I will let you as the host pick which one we talk about first.
Oh, I think dealer's choice on that one. I think completely your option.
So the first one for me is what I saw coming first. Cause again, I'm an active buyer. I'm always looking to buy the next rental. I want a good or great deal, all of these things. So we have seen in the last 100 days, the cost of capital for the average buyer go up 250 basis points. Mm-hmm. To say that is not normal is to be uneducated. It has happened one time before in the early 80s when Paul Volcker did his thing. So I wanted to go back and just ask myself, oh my God, what happens? Because again, what has happened in the housing market with the cost of capital is it typically moves slowly. And if the cost of capital moves slowly, even if it moves up, people adjust. And, maybe on the very edges, things change, but the overall market doesn't move. You essentially double the cost of capital mm-hmm. in 100 days.
Right.
You're going to break things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what we're doing is not only have we broken things because the cost of capital has gone up 100%, but you got to remember that's on a base where rates were low for 2 years.
Right.
You could get non-QM money, which I did, sub 4% for 2 years. Mm-hmm. That is stupid.
Yeah.
Non-QM money is not bank money. Non-QM money is that layer between banks and hard money. To see that you could get non-QM money, now you can't anymore, but you could for 2 years, sub 4 is stupid.
Yeah.
So we built a base in the housing market, sub 4%. That is now 6.5. Owner occ was sub 3, now 6.25.
Yeah.
Just amazing. And by the way, prices are up. So the affordability, which is the number one thing I look at, is blowing up across the country. So we have true demand destruction like we haven't seen before, which, by the way, is what the Fed wants.
Yes.
How do you break inflation? You crush demand. The Fed's tools are rather blunt. Mm-hmm. Cost of capital. They adjust that. Banks adjust. Demand goes down. You borrow less. Both people, families, and businesses borrow less. Mm-hmm. However, because we are doing this in an environment where we had 2 years of record refis, record home purchases, right? So we had 2 years where total mortgage demand was almost $5 trillion. Normally speaking, it's in the threes. So in 2 years, we did roughly $9.5 trillion together, where we should have done 6 or 6.25. Mm-hmm. So we did $3 trillion extra. Mm-hmm. We have all of these people now with sub 3.5. Black Knight Mortgage has done some amazing research. They did a video. They were interviewed on Bloomberg, which you can just go Google, where they said 33% of loans. That's amazing. 33% of loans are now below 3%. 50% of loans are below 3.5. Why is that important? Well, because I believe mom and dad are rational. Yeah. Mom and dad been in their homes, got a raise, and they want to get the next house, right? That's how this works. Our housing market is a housing market because there's first-time home buyers, there's move-up buyers, and there's luxury. Unfortunately, we have just crushed the move-up buyer. Mom and dad who are in their home, who are sitting on $100,000 of equity, and they want to move. They then go house shopping. They find the house they want. Then they go to the mortgage broker and they get the bad news. Sorry, ma'am, sir, your 2.8 now becomes 6.2. Oh, by the way, the house is $100K more. So when you roll this all together and now you're borrowing 380 versus 180,
right?
Your payments tripled. Matt, the mortgage guy, did some scenarios where the family in the first-time home qualifies, has the income, has what they want, but that other house, the payment triples.
Right.
Very, very, very few people are going to triple their mortgage payment for an extra bedroom.
Yeah.
This is why I joked, and I actually meant, if there was a company that made bunk beds only, I would buy their stock. Seriously.
Yeah.
Screw it, buddy. I'm going to put the boys in that room and the girls in that room. We're good. I'll go on a fancy vacation. I am not getting rid of that mortgage. So I have been calling for 25% in housing transactions this year. I believe it will be 50% peak to trough. And again, there's examples, and I give you a 52-year spreadsheet. You can go look at it yourself. Where over the course of 2 to 2.5 years, transactions are going down. So the Fed broke the existing housing market, which is terrible. And why is it terrible? Because mortgage brokers are going to lose their job. Real estate agents aren't going to make any money. It's going to be bad, 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 bad. Now, based on a conversation you and I had on Tuesday, and oh, by the way, all the comments we got on that video, I now come to realize that the federal government broke affordable rentals, specifically affordable rental houses. Well, how did they do this stupidity? Well, at the height of the pandemic back in 2020, President Trump, he's a landlord.
Yeah.
He created the first eviction moratorium. Now, obviously, it was extended by Biden, but let's not forget, it was enacted under President Trump.
It was. The
eviction moratorium basically told landlords, sorry, you're going to have to pay the price of this pandemic. We told your tenants they can't go to work. We want them to stay inside for national security or whatever it was. Well, that's now been declared unconstitutional, except in LA County for some reason. I don't know why they can do it, but whatever. Most places can't.
Right.
I don't get LA, but whatever.
Because you have a king.
King Newsom. Whatever. Yeah. Anyways, so landlords now have been given some across the country in red states, in blue states. It didn't matter. Red or blue, couldn't evict.
Right.
Landlords now are looking at this going, well, that sucked.
Did.
Some landlords, I had several properties where we were down 30, 40 grand because it went on for 18 months or whatever. A lot of landlords are not in a situation where they can carry that. But they were asked to suck it up. The landlords were asked to carry the water for lots of people. So now it's over. Oh, by the way, we just talked about rates being ridiculously low. And oh, by the way, what happens when rates are low? 2020, folks, was the best year to buy a home. Most affordable. In 52 years, 2020 was the best year. So if you are watching any YouTube channel that said the houses were going to crash in 2020, stop watching, because it was the best year for affordability. Ever. Well, at least in 52 years. I don't know about ever, but 52 years. I don't want to go back any further now. I'm not going to. That was a lot of work.
Anybody that's watching this show now, they could have afforded to buy a house 52 years ago, basically ever.
Yeah, ever. Exactly. Right? I wasn't alive. I'm old, but I'm not quite that old. So it's what happened to prices? They went up 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% since 2020. So now you're a landlord. You have a home. This is specifically homes. I don't know that apartments will feel the same way, but this is homes. Because what became the thing to have in this pandemic? Space.
Sure.
A bedroom for an office. A backyard for the kids and the dog. A garage for your gym, your junk, whatever. So houses. You're now a landlord who had to eat 6 or 9 months. You can now evict. You're like, I'm going to get rid of that deadbeat because they suck. They never paid me. They're out. Now the unit is vacant. It's destroyed. You've got to do a cleaning anyway, probably a remodel. You're like, I just spent 15 grand.
Mhm.
The house down the street just sold for 5x what I paid, in 19 whatever. Do I really want to have this headache? Because I hear freaking Fauci talking about the next thing and the next thing and the pandemic and Bill Gates doing this and that nonsense. I don't think I want to live through that again.
Right.
Instead of putting a tenant in, I'm just going to sell it. And I'm going to let an owner occupant with an FHA buy the house because I just remodeled it. Well, congratulations. Inventory shows up for first-time home buyers during this crash. However, you have just lost one of your affordable rentals forever.
Right.
Forever.
Right.
Because they're not making any more. So when this happens, it's happening again. President Trump, red and blue, across the country. Landlords were asked to carry water that we never planned for. No landlord, especially in Texas or Florida or Ohio or where a red state, you would have never expected your government to come in and say you couldn't evict. You just never would. And there was a year and a half where you couldn't.
Yeah.
There are lots of landlords that are saying, I'm done. The government sucks. Capitalism system's broken. The giveaway administration, whatever. I'm not playing. So great. Home ownership will go up because affordable housing will go down. Unfortunately, now that we're in this raising rate environment, everybody wants a home. We got less affordable units. You suddenly are going to get 200 applications on 3 units that you've already jacked up rates 30% when you could have done more. Affordable rentals are going to be the rarest of rare things going forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the federal government and the Federal Reserve combined together have made affordable rental houses the rarest thing around.
Yep.
And it's not going to get any better because now affordability is exploding and you're seeing less and less qualified buyers, but they still want a house. So if you still want a house and you can't buy, you're going to rent. And now you're more rental demand and there's nothing to rent. And oh my God, rent's going to go up. The government did it. The government did it. The government did it.
Couldn't agree more. And one of the things that I look at is I'm still looking at single families in my market. I haven't bought a single family in my market for rental for 6 years. The numbers haven't made sense. They are now almost negative 10% on my money. Negative 10% on my money. So I can't. Even if I wanted to, and even if I was buying on, we'll call it the alligator plan.
Yeah.
And just trying to ride it for appreciation, it's not going to catch up.
No,
it's not going to catch up. And so that leaves me the only option, as you were saying, of selling those single family homes. So having a single family home as a rent, being able to rent a single family home. Somebody said to me, they turned down one of our units at $2,450 and they said, yeah, we're really expecting kind of a 3-1. And I was like, in where? China?
Yeah. Are you going to Maryland? Where are you going? You going to a different state?
You're not getting a 3-1 in this town, the next town, 2 towns north of here, 3 towns north of here. You're not. And so and just to give you an idea, that puts you 30 minutes outside the main travel area. So we're like 15 minutes, but that's another 30. So that's 45 minutes now to your main travel area. And even then, you're not getting something because that town, pretty much that entire town, the nicest thing is going to be a B area.
Yeah,
and so people just don't know, and they don't really understand how broken this is now going to be. But what I do see, the opportunity that I believe is there, small multifamily, 2s, 2s, and 3s.
Yeah. If you can get a dupe or try, house hack, cheat code to wealth, all of that stuff. If you can get a house with an ADU kind of, like 2 houses, one, these things do exist. Frankly, gun to head, if I had to only buy one thing, it would be 2 houses on 1 lot.
Yeah.
If I only could buy one thing.
How often do those come up for you?
Not often enough.
No, I mean,
it's probably less than, it's probably less than 3% of the inventory, probably.
Yeah.
Because it was very popular in the 50s.
Right.
And then for decades, they weren't popular.
Right. Because I did, in all of my real estate career, I think I've only been able to buy 3 of those.
I probably have
really hard to get
15 to 20 of them, but I've been buying for 20 years.
Right. right? Yeah. In 20 years, I've got 3.
Yeah.
They're just really, really hard because the restriction around land, and land is so hard to come by in the Northeast.
Yeah.
I mean, my town's 300 years old.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
There was a time where they were pretty common. They called them casitas in Fresno.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're not going to buy a new one, although I'm trying to build an ADU. So they're trying to come around, but that's a whole nother disaster because of the freaking government intervention.
I actually, just so you know, I just started my process for an ADU. The only reason I tell you is because I'm going to beat you.
Yeah, you probably will, because you're not in California.
Yes.
And I had an 8-month head start.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see what happens there, because I want to build an ADU, and it's lends itself perfectly. It lends itself perfectly to that. So, Mike, any more thoughts on?
No, what I would tell people is again, it's very clear to me, having been doing this for a long time, that the Federal Reserve broke the purchase market. Yes. Our federal government broke affordable rentals. And that combination together is just starting to unfold. It only gets worse from here for both segments. It is going to be a painful year going forward. And once you've made your bed, you got to lie in it. Yeah. So the Federal Reserve and the federal government, a lot of us are going to have to pay the price for what they've done the last 2 years.
I was going to say, they made the bed. We're going to have to lie in it.
Yeah. And we're going to hear them chatterboxing about this or that. You did this, you son of a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't mess with a capitalist free market and not have unintended consequences. And it's going to be painful.
You can prop, you can poke, you can't hold. And that's what happens.
No, I mean, what are you supposed to do? You're going to cause somebody to have undue costs, undue pain across the country, and you don't think they're going to sell? I mean, really? Are you not paying attention?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we look at it too, and it's like, like I said, I think in last week on our Tuesday, I'm seeing more assistance for tenants now than I did even through 2020 and 2021.
And their affordable rentals are disappearing.
That's right.
You're going to, again, throughout the year, you're going to lose more and more. More landlords are going to be like, I'm done, kick the tenant out. I hear Dr. Fauci talking about this or that nonsense coming. I can't do another one. I bled my 401k to pay for that damn tenant who never caught up. And
so in January, I checked to see how many how many vouchers or opportunities or potential tenants that were between the emergency COVID program, housing, etc. And at that time, it was just about 100.
Okay.
And this is in a city of 30,000, just about 100. So, okay, all right. That's it's May now, and combined, it's over 300.
Yeah, that's, again, these are all the signs that I look at going, there's an impending disaster coming.
Yep. Well, the other piece of it too is it's like, if you have a place, be smart. Be smart. If you have a place, be smart. Maybe even try and get a 2-year lease. Yeah. If you like it enough, don't love it, but if you just like it enough, try and get yourself a 2-year lease. Try and put yourself in a better position. Like for our great tenants that are never any problem, they never make any phone calls. If some little thing comes up, they take care of it. Those tenants that are reaching out to us and saying, hey, we'd love to, stick around for another year or two. Awesome. Let's do a lease right now. We'll do a marginal increase and I'll keep you and I won't go to market with it. And it works for them. It works for me and everyone's happy. Yeah. So if you're in one of those places and you are a tenant, you should be doing that. And if you're a landlord and you have some of those great tenants that are just fantastic people, be proactive, reach out to them, do the binder strategy with them like Dion does. I think that's a great thing. So Mike, tell everybody where they can find you, my friend.
One rental at a time. If you want to ask me some questions, I do it 1 hour a week and it is 8 a.m. Saturday Pacific time.
It is that. It is on his One Rental at a Time channel on YouTube. It is fantastic. Myself and many of the other experts actually attend. Yeah. Usually myself and Dion and Steve Dow and Rylas and the whole crew. So there's a lot of folks that attend that. As I always say, we like to create great content for you. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And Mike, thanks so much. I appreciate it. We'll see you on Tuesday. Actually, I'll see you on the live stream tomorrow.
You got it.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.